The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. What is going on, my Go Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast live. This is episode 139. We are live as always on YouTube. And if you're out there watching, we welcome you to the show. Welcome you to the channel. We've got a lot of new subscribers out there that might be finding their way into the live chat here and there. So have fun out there. Let's keep the conversation lively. Let's not cross any crazy lines, but have a good time out there. I always like seeing a good conversation going out there. If you have any questions for myself or anyone else on the panel throughout the show, make sure you tag us in the side chat. You know, chances are I'm not going to be looking unless I see that tag up there. That's just the way it goes. I kind of have to do 17 different things, and you guys know I'm not very smart, so I need about 10 more hands here. I need a production assistant. I need an engineer. I need a sound guy. You know how it is. I wish I had all that, but maybe one day. But yeah, we're going to have a good time. So if you're out there, like I said, say hello. We'll give you a shout out here in a minute. And everyone out there watching live, if you're watching in replay or listening in podcast form, once again, you can always enjoy the conversation back and forth if you want in the comment section below. So if you have any questions or comments throughout what we talk about, go ahead and leave those down there as well, and we'll make sure we answer those when it's appropriate. So before we get going, let's bring in the illustrious tactical virus himself. What's up, Clove?
Hey, man. What's happening?
I'm just chilling like a villain, man. Chilling like a villain. How about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same.
You sore today?
Yeah, I've been sore for a while though, so it ain't ain't nothing but a thing. The pain lets you know you're still alive, supposedly. That's what I hear anyway.
That's right. And we see Rod and Shelly out there, the gun cleaners. If you guys are wondering what that says down there, we are taking obviously our text. You can text in, but you can also call in if you want to be part of the show. You can call in to 530-364-4678. That is the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by the Gun Cleaners. So we want to send a big shout out to the Gun Cleaners. Rod and Shelly Gates down there are phenomenal, and they're friends of ours or friends of Clover's. We use their products, but we use their products not because they're our friends, because it actually is good shit. So let's do a shout out there and see who's out there. Give the notifications time. So let's see who all is out there in the YouTube land. We have got 223 DMRs out there, Bucks out there, Kingpin. What's up, Kingpin? Nighthog. The Arkansans are representing tonight, man. Representing. They're talking about the storms that came through, man. Last week we had some storms. You know, I live up here in the mountains, and we very rarely will get tornadoes, but within 2 hours one day last week, it was one like at 11 and one at like 12:15, get notifications on my phone that there's tornado warnings in our area. That was nuts. And they said 45 to 50 mile an hour wind, and I would agree with that. I was sitting on the back porch. I love storms. I don't know if you do too, but I love being outside during storms if it's plausible. And I was out there and sipping on something and had a cigarette, and I was like, the wind's getting kind of crazy here. I think I'll go back inside. So, we usually get the same weather you get, maybe the day later, but did y'all get the crazy winds last week?
Yeah. I mean, here we didn't, but fairly close to here we did. Yeah.
Let's see here. Might have messed it up, but I'm gonna try to find where I was. Kingpin. I don't know if I said Kingpin or not. Texas Blades out there. It says howdy, y'all. Howdy, Texas Blades. We got JMA out there. Hey, brother, Semper Fidelis, my man. JMA. Clover's out there. And then here, Victor Hernandez is 40 Smith & Wesson better than 9mm. Well, hell, let's go ahead and kick this off. I'm a 9mm fan. Yes, I'm one of those people. I think the 9mm round is the most versatile of the pistol caliber. That's just me. I understand that I learned to shoot handguns on 9mm, so that's kind of, I have a special place in my heart for 9. But like I said, whether you're running a PCC or you're running a pistol, I like what 9mm does. You can go with a 147 hollow point, and it's going to be great for defensive. You can go to 115 and Full Metal Jacket, and that thing's going to be a screamer, and you shoot competition with it. I usually shoot competition with 124 grain, but I'll carry 147. But I like 9mm, and I'm not going to put down 40, but I'll say this. At the 40 level, I would probably go 357 SIG over 40 Smith. That's just me. I like how a 357 SIG reacts. It's not that I have anything against the 40. It's never done anything for me. It doesn't do anything. I don't know. What about you? 9mm or 40 Smith?
40 Smith. What is that?
Right there you go.
What is that? What? 40,
yeah.
Huh? What?
I actually did. I got either an email or a comment yesterday. It was an email. I woke up this morning and read this email. And it was interesting because it was kind of along the same lines. And I don't remember Victor Hernandez being the name that sent me the email, but let's see here. Let me go to find this. I don't think I deleted it. Okay. Yeah. This is from a guy named John. Said, saw your YouTube channel and subscribed. Very fun and informative. I have a question for you though. 40 cal, is it still a viable round or becoming dead in the water? Everyone online, the experts claim that 40 is gone and long live 9mm, blah, 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 blah. So this is obviously something that's kind of going around, and it might be something that it's interesting because about 2 weeks ago when I went into the gun shop looking for ammo, the only handgun, I'm not even saying pistol, the only handgun ammo in there was 40 Smith. Everything else was gone. I know that there's probably some maybe good deals for 40 Smith guns out there. I don't know, but I don't know why all of a sudden 40 Smith is kind of becoming a thing as far as people want to know. I'm not saying anything bad about it. It never did anything for me. If that's what you have, that's what's out there that you can get. Yeah, it's going to do the job. Like I said, I would rather go buy a 40 Smith, get a 357 conversion barrel, and run a 357 SIG through that, or a 10. I would go if you want a 40, then go ahead and get a 10mm pistol. Honestly, if you don't like 9, then go the 10mm. I think a 10 is much more than a 40 Smith. So I don't know. I mean, I think you probably would take 10 over 40, wouldn't you?
Well, of course. Yeah. Like I said, what's 40?
Right.
40 doesn't exist to me.
Yeah.
There's no such thing.
I don't own a 40. I've shot 40 a bunch. Was it the Glock? Was it the 23 that was a 40?
It's a
26.
good question.
I think it was 23.
Yeah.
I think it was 23.
I don't know. I know the 20. I know the 20 and the 21, and then yeah, I don't know after that. 2021, the 20, the 21, and the 40. No, the 21's a 45. Stupid Glock in their numbers, right?
I know, right? I think it was a 23 was a 40. I might be wrong about that. Anyways, I mean, honestly, I don't mind. I would choose multiple calibers. You know what? I would say this. Of all the pistol calibers, I would say that I would choose 380, 9, 357 SIG, 10, 45 AC. I'd choose every single one of them ahead of a 40, if that gives you any idea. That's just me. So sorry. I don't know if that offends you or not, Victor, but it is what it is. Like I said, Rod and Shelley Gates out there, the gun cleaners. What's up, Virginia Bateman? Hi. Nighthawk. Let's see here. Ronald Cash. Hello from Texas. We're getting the Texas connection. So between Arkansas and Texas, we got it covered tonight, bro. Ronald Cash. I don't remember seeing that name. Maybe he's new. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, new to the show, stick around. We promise we might make you a little bit dumber. We like to have fun, but I can't guarantee we're going to educate you. Edumacate you. AWAG, howdy. What's up, AWAG? Oh, crap. I hate when that happens, when it just skips. Pancake Boy's out there. He says he likes 40, but he would. I mean, if there's anyone out there that would like 40, it would be Pancake Boy. So go. Don't be okay. JMA must be having a conversation. So Weston's out there. What's up, Wes? Let's see here. Andrew Faulkner is out there. Someone was saying that I just saw something about 40. Oh, Rod says he carried 40 on duty for years. Yeah, I think that, I mean, obviously the 40 was created for FBI, I believe, back in the 80s. That was kind of what it was. I don't know if it was created for, but that's who basically used 40 Smith was the FBI and the federal agencies.
The ladies, right?
For a while, then yeah, if you were law enforcement in the 80s and 90s, you probably were issued a 40 caliber.
Yeah.
What were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah, the ladies couldn't handle it, the 10 millimeter, so they had to gimp it. So,
right.
Seriously, I mean, seriously.
Texas Blade says I got a 40 for a discounted Glock plus ammo is less popular. I mean, yeah. Carolina, what's up? Carolina says 40 I carry for duty with my job issued. Being inside building with many people, it reduces over penetration. I mean, I can see that. Sure. Glock 22, Texas Blade says. Okay, so Andrew says 22 and 23 are both 40. I thought the 23 was a 40, but like you said, with Glock's numbering system, man, sometimes you just say, screw it, I give up. But let's see here. Midnight, it's kind of popular to dump on the 40s. Not saying you can't like 9 better, but I think a lot of people trash it. Part of the haters gang. I mean, if there's a caliber out there that gets hated on the most, it's 9. So, I mean, 9 gets hated on more than anything. I think that people hate on the 9 just because it is popular. I think people hate on the 40 because it kind of deserves it. That's just me. But like I said, if it's what you have, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I put a video out there a couple of days ago about is 22 LR a viable option for home defense? And I've been getting a lot of hate in those comments, as you can imagine, and part of that was expected and almost encouraged. I'm talking with Clover, who is the 22, level 47 Grand Wizard Master Dragon, with 22 LR. But 22 LR is a viable option for home defense. It might not be the greatest option, but if you've got it and you can place a shot right there. A shot to the middle of the forehead is going to do its job.
I don't know that I would go middle of the forehead. You're better off sticking with something like that.
I'm just saying, but if you hit
mid, upper torso,
if you hit someone there, it doesn't matter what you got. They're going to go down.
Oh, they're going to go down, but it's that's debatable too. There's a lot of data out there we're getting into a morbid thing with this, ain't we? There's a lot of data out there with 22 and skulls and stuff like that, and where it'll go under the skin and then basically ricochet around and come back. And I mean, other than it's basically, it might be like getting punched in the head. Maybe there's that much to it, but when you get a ricochet glance or something like that, most everybody's foreheads are curved. There's some people that have flat foreheads. I guess if you had a flat forehead, you may be in more trouble, but a shovel head.
Joseph Christian's out there. Hello, Joseph says Virginia is in the hizzy. So Virginia being represented, the land of John Crump. The land of Crump. Is that Crump land? I guess we call it.
Land of Crump.
Crump, not Trump. Crump. John Crump.
The land of Crump.
Oh, they just said Trump. I was like, no.
Oh, screw Trump. I don't know. Well, no, I don't want to do that, but yeah.
Yeah, well, Nighthawk says FBI went to 10 millimeter after Miami fiasco, found it was hard on their guns and agents. I put it this way, okay, maybe that should give the FBI a reason to look at who they were recruiting and bring into the agency. I mean, seriously, if you're going to be a federal agent and you can't handle a 10 millimeter, I mean, should you be a federal agent? I'm just saying. That's just me. Rod says he carried the Glock 22 as a patrol officer and the 23 as a detective. Let's see here. I like Nighthawk. He says, Ghost, I don't care what caliber you got. I'm not standing in front of it. Exactly. The only
I'm
person
not
safe, the only person you're safe being right in front of is probably Night Strike. You'd be safe with him.
right. I am not standing in front of a less than lethal beanbag. I'm not standing in front of a BB gun or a pellet rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to tell you, I'm not even going to stand in front of a standing in front of it. I ain't even going to stand in front of a airsoft or a paintball.
No.
Forget that.
We used paintball back in the Corps, back in the mid '90s, before they got, away from that and got onto other things. But I tell you what, of course, they don't like to tell you, since if it's your first time going to paintball, not to wear extra layers, and that shit hurts. Like, it'll welt. I mean, you'll be bruised, and if you get hit with a paintball, especially back in the day before they kind of technology took over and got better stuff, man, that stuff hurt, man. Mm-hmm. Paintball was fun, but man, that stuff hurts. So you learn real quickly to wear a sweatshirt and different padding underneath it, a catcher's chest protector, all sorts of stuff that you'd go in there. And man, Joe Son says, or a rubber band. Rubber band to the eye doesn't feel good, I promise you.
Or
he says, bought 500 rounds of 357 SIG for his P226 recently. There you go.
Yeah, you ever been hit with a frozen paintball?
Yes, that's damn near a bullet.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a slug. Yeah.
Joe, what's up, Joe? Joe, Mel the Nut. What? It's been a while since I've seen Mel. Mel's commented on some videos, but I haven't seen Mel in the chat in a long time. It's good to see you, Mel. Let's see here. I don't want to call him his real name because
there's quite a few people. There's quite a few people mad at Mel right now. Mel bought out all of the black caps I got in at the store.
Oh, did he now?
Yeah, he got the last one. So there's a lot of people that's upset. If you didn't get your hands on a black cap because that's what you wanted, that was your first choice. Mel's the reason why.
There you
or
go.
over here, I guess he is, isn't he? Mel, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. Mel says he got to try the sight mark. I wonder if it's the same sight mark that I was talking about, but a sight mark on his VR60 shotgun. I've got a VR60 shotgun, and it failed. I've never run any kind of optic on either one of those shotguns, so
I wouldn't.
Interesting. I wouldn't think so, but
I wouldn't run a sight mark. I wouldn't run anything sight mark on a shotgun.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, he said it failed, and that doesn't surprise me. I mean, that VR60 is a pretty cool shotgun, but it's got some energy to it, for sure. Let's see here. Ronald Reagan and James Brady got shot with a 22 LR. JMA just got the Shockwave. Let me know how you like that, man. I've shot it once. And that's not like one trigger pull, but one sitting. I shot it at the range. I liked it. It wasn't something that I would say, "Ooh, I got to go get that." Once again, it's but man, they're nice. They're pretty sweet, especially if you can go and get. I think Rich White has really done a really sweet custom job on his, and but yeah, those Shockwaves, man, people love because I guess they're pretty easily to customize and all that. What's up, E-Rock? E-Rock's out there. Gizzard Gary, hello. AWAG says modern paintballs can't freeze. They are now fish oil based. You can eat them. Not very tasty. Don't ask me how I know. Hey, I eat crayons, bro. So, you got to eat fish oil paintballs. You got to do what you got to do, brother.
Got to get your omega-3 somehow. So why not?
That's right. D-Temps out there. Nighthawk Medic. EOTech will live a long time on most shotguns. I mean, EOTech stuff is I don't put optics on shotguns
unless you're running slugs. I mean, I've got a couple of slugsters that have some type of optic, but if they're scatter guns, that's, to me, it's pointless.
Mel says that he was shooting full power slugs in the VR60 and the sight mark actually flew off. That doesn't surprise me. like I said, that VR60 is a good shotgun, but it's got a lot of energy, I've got that one, and I got the bullpup and the AR from Rock Island, and I like them. I like the bullpup's a fun shotgun to shoot. It's going to wear your shoulder out and it's going to get you sore, but it is an absolute blast to shoot. But I wouldn't put an optic on it, like you said. I mean, I don't do shotgun a whole lot. I mean, I know.
I don't know what it is. The cooler the shotgun, or the more tactical or whatever, the worse it beats you to death for whatever reason. It seems like, you know, the Century, the Iron Horse Century from Blackwater, was really looking forward to it. And, you know, they were at Antares and whatever, and got to shoot that. And that thing just would beat you. It was cool as all get out and fun, but it would flat beat you to death.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it. Most of the, like I said, most of the tactical stuff is just that way. I don't know if it's almost like you put a pistol grip, you know, on one, and it changes the angle and the way at which you mount. And so that affects the, you know, how you're receiving that recoil, and it makes it worse.
I'm going to let you handle this one. You've got more experience with suppressors, but Victor asks, are budget suppressors worth it?
Okay, I don't know what he's meaning by budget suppressor. Okay, but
so Victor, if you're out there, can you maybe expand on what you're considering a budget suppressor?
I mean, if you're, I don't know what he's, I don't know. Are we talking rimfire? Are we talking centerfire? Yeah, or you could call it rimfire, centerfire.
We'll take.
We talking 308, 5.56. Are we just talking stuff on the cheaper end of the spectrum? Are they worth it?
I would guess, when we say budget, I would guess maybe the lower priced.
Just lower priced in general. Yeah, let's talk about just lower priced in general. For most people, they're going to work because had some lag there. Because all the principles is there. I mean, you're basically slowing down the gases. He says centerfire handgun. Okay. There we go. Here's why you want to be specific.
You were looking for, I remember correctly, the Antares. You've been looking for a good solid 9mm suppressor.
Handgun suppressors are probably not. If you're going to have to spend some money if you're wanting a good suppressor for a handgun, because you don't have the barrel length to burn the powder that you need to get burnt. A lot shorter length as opposed to this to be able to burn all that powder and get all that done. And so they also tend to be shorter at a lot of respects, smaller diameter, so that the suppressor height sights will stick up, and then also shorter, so weight is cut and things like that. So, they really cut corners on the cheap ones, where the more expensive are made out of your titaniums and your lighter materials, as well as being monocore or something like that, where they don't have multiple parts inside there. It's just one aluminum or titanium or whatever it might be, monocore. So on a handgun, I think you're going to benefit. On a rifle, I don't think, if we're talking rifle or we're talking rimfire, I don't think you're going to necessarily benefit from going with a more expensive, but in a handgun, you definitely will.
Yep. G23's out there. What's up? And JMA says looking to add one to his 338. Looking to add what? Maybe he's talking about a suppressor.
Ooh. Break off some money.
Well, you're talking about between the rifle, and if you're gonna get a 338 lapel, you might as well go ahead and get yourself a nice scope. And if you're gonna get that suppressed, now you're looking at about 10 to 15 grand for that setup easily. Easily.
Yeah.
So if you've got 10 to 15 grand for all of that, hey man, hell yeah, do what you gotta do. You're gonna have a 338 Lapua. I mean, you probably have that built into your budget, or at least down the line budget of getting yourself a Night Force scope and a suppressor, probably. You know what I'm saying? I mean, into a 338 Lapua saying, all right, now I got this rifle. I want to go get a Chinese optic and,
right.
whatever, you're in for the long haul.
Well, it's one of them things with on something like a 338. And this is where, I mean, you might as well talk about suppressing the 50 BMG or something like that. But if you've never shot, and I actually did, it was the first time I'd ever shot, because I don't shoot my can. None of my 300 Win mags or my 300 Weatherby mags are threaded, right? So,
now, is your 50 suppressed?
No.
No.
So at SHOT Show this year, I forgot what it was, what boots, if it was Winchester or Browning, or it was one of them. They had a 300 Win mag that was suppressed, and you still had to have Ear Pro. You still had to have Ear Pro for it. So if I'm gonna have to have Ear Pro anyway, then
what's the point?
Do I really want to go that route? Do I really want to dump that kind of money and the time and everything else? Now, granted, if we didn't have NFA, if we didn't have suppressors on the list, or even if they was and the process was different where you could just go down in 30 days, kind of like you're able to get Form 1 stamps back now, in 30 days, 6 weeks, something like that, you could get it back. And that would affect the price. Price would drop if they were easier to obtain.
Sure.
Quicker to obtain. Shouldn't say easier, quicker to obtain is what I'm getting at. I think you'd see the price drop, and at that point, then okay, it might be worth it. But some of the larger caliber rifles, it's just not worth it. I mean, you're gonna see so much more difference in the when you're talking about suppressors when you're using it on a caliber that is more easily suppressed.
Well, and you're talking 50 BMG, 338 Lapua, you're talking these bigger calibers that are built for a mile shot. I mean, you're not at that point. You're reaching probably well past 1,000. At this point, you're thinking I can get out to a touch a mile. 1,500 yards is not a problem with either one of those two. Let me ask you this: how much of the ballistics would it change either one of those rounds if it's suppressed? I mean,
a lot.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the thing is if you're going to go in with this, then you have to understand that your data is going to change significantly with a can.
And if you go with a thread on, then odds are you're going to have point of impact shift every time you take it on and off as well. So got to remember that.
Yeah.
Not a big deal for close, but if you're talking long range, that's going to be a huge deal. If you're talking 100, 150 yards, probably not going to be enough point of impact shift. If you're talking about hunting,
100 yards,
yeah, definitely. If you get out to even 400 or 500, if you're talking about on pigs or something like that, you're talking about a total miss sometimes with point of impact shift at that distance.
Now, DMR says the 408 ShyTac is pretty awesome. I have not shot the ShyTac, but I have shot the 408 Tejas, which was built for Charlie, basically, for his world record shot, based off the ShyTac. And it's phenomenal. I mean, I'll put it this way. Was it 2 years ago, right? 2 SHOT Shows ago. Yeah, not this, but 2. Yeah, so 2019 SHOT Show in Terry's. Charlie had the rifle that he shot 5,000 yards with, 408 Tejas, based off the ShyTac. And I think you shot it too. But I tell you what's interesting is it's an enormous rifle, enormous cartridge. But when you pull it, like I would have, you could have bet me that it was a 308, and I would have said, yeah, that's about right. I was expecting much, much more than what I received from that shot, which was crazy. I don't know if it was the gun, the cartridge. I don't know what it was, but it was nowhere near what I thought the damage was going to be to me. It was very easy and beautiful gun. But yeah, the ShyTac I haven't shot, but I have shot the Tejas based off the ShyTac. So have you guys shot the 408 ShyTac before? What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I have.
Before we get going, we got the Chief Gearhead from Gear Report. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man?
Howdy.
You talking? Oh, okay.
Yep.
I didn't know if you were going silent on us or not.
I was, but I broke the silence.
Yeah.
I said enough of that.
Didn't have scouts tonight, I guess.
Oh, it's done.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's still meeting virtually. And, yeah, never mind. I'm not going to go down that road.
All right.
I'll whine about that later.
You want some cheese with that wine?
Right.
Yes. Yes, please.
Now, AWAG says from what he's seen, they say that suppressors actually increase the feet per second. I've always heard that it's going to bring the muzzle velocity down. I try to do even, and it's not a can by any means, but that little blast regulator that I got from Surefire, I wanted to test that out to see with the gases, instead of going out the sides of the muzzle brake, it's going through this thing going straight. I wondered, was that going to push the projectile faster with the gases giving its full force behind it? It actually dropped the velocity, which was interesting. I didn't think it would. Go figure. But what do you guys think about we're talking suppressors. Someone brought up suppressors and all that, and we're talking about suppressing 338s and 50 BMGs, Jeff. And with your experience with suppressors, especially for long range, good or bad, the suppressors, are they going to negatively or positively going to affect your accuracy and range with a suppressor on there?
So I haven't done any testing on a chronograph, which I should, but that would mean Caleb has to give me my chronograph back, which hasn't happened in the last 2 years. So yeah, I'm not bitter. But no, everything I've read is that typically they are going to give you a small but measurable bump in velocity, which can help a little bit at range. And, that's one of the things that we test whenever we do silencer reviews is, do we see a point of impact shift? Do we see it consistently? Like, every time we put the can on, it shifts to the same place? Or is it, you screw it on once and, okay, now you're shifting down and left a little, and you unscrew it and take it off and put it back on. Now you're shifting up and right a little bit, because I've seen that happen. Depending on which if there are multiple threads available to catch on that first rotation, it may end up indexed at a different place and throw a little bit of a different shift on it. But that's something that we test when we do silencer reviews. And that's one of the big selling points that some of the brands will call out, is that you should not expect a POI shift with our can. So it's always a neat thing to test and see, are they lying?
Well, and I'll kind of go back to what Clover was saying too, is, for these suppressor companies, what ranges are they testing that POI? Is it 100 yards, 200, 300 yards, or are they going out to 1,000 yards with their suppressor and still saying there's no point of impact change? If that is, then phenomenal. But you're probably paying a little higher premium for those versus like Clover was saying, at 100 yards, you're probably not going to see much difference in most of them. It's when you start reaching out there closer to maybe 1,000, or even what you say, about 500 yards, maybe, is kind of when you start seeing that difference.
Yeah, I mean, personally, yeah, what I've seen.
Yeah. Off the X, Lance out there says that 408 gas or piston, it's a bolt action, and it was phenomenal, just beautiful. And then it was funny because Rod out there says, he and Charlie live there close to each other. They're good friends, and he says he's never shot the 408. So yeah, it was awesome. There you answered it as well. Mel says you got to go. Keep up the great. Appreciate you, Mel. See you soon, buddy. Let's see here. Nighthawk Bedick says that link was the test that showed suppressors increasing velocity. I did not see a link.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Okay. Let's see here.
But I thought you had to be a moderator to post a link.
Yeah, that's what I was
that is probably being hidden because he's not a mod. Let's see here. Okay, there's a one for you, Clover. Lance says, will a point of impact change in a bolt gun as it can on a gas gun?
Doesn't matter what it is. It can be a single shot. Still change. The whole thing with one of the things, I don't want to say the whole thing, one of the things with point of impact shift is going to be, well, I mean, there's two factors that come to mind. One is going to be if it's thread on or if it's quick attach, does it stop when you install it in the same place every single time? And then the second thing about that is how it's made internally. Is it symmetrical? Like, I'm symmetrical, well, within reason, right? My ears are in the same place, basically. My eyes, each nostril, all, you know what I'm saying? So if you do a cross section of that suppressor, is it symmetrical? Assuming that everything is the same, right? Then, I mean, that helps as well. But most of your monocores, look at the designs on them, they're not symmetrical. So, yeah.
223 out there says, I was shooting some 30-30 core locks got from Walmart, and one of the bullets were put in the shell backwards. What?
Remington's has some QC
mass production, man. I'm telling you.
In the past. Now, somebody out there did say that factory ammo, something about factory ammo was inconsistent as heck or something like that. And we got to be careful when we talk about that, because not really. You know, I could take a deer at 100, 150 yards with off the shelf cheap factory ammo just as easily as I can with high dollar boutique ammo or hand loaded ammo. So, you know, that's contextual, right? I mean, if you're shooting at 1,000 yards, if you're shooting straight up precision matches or something like that, yes, that's true. But outside of that, yeah, we got to be careful not to scare people into not wanting to be a firearm owner or something like that because they feel they need to buy expensive ammo all the time or hand load. And so that's not the case. You're going to be able to get most everything done with factory ammo. It's accurate enough.
Yeah. JMA out there says, what do y'all think about the 6.5 Creed? My experience with the 6.5 Creed, I like it. I like it a lot. Matter of fact, Clover knows I like it a lot. That's what you were thinking, weren't you? You were thinking Pet Detective. Don't lie. No, that wasn't Pet Detective. That was I like it a lot. That was
it was Dumb and Dumber, wasn't it?
Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, Dumb and Dumber. I like it a lot. Anyways, when I went down to Charlie's last year, I kind of very quickly kind of fell in love with long range stuff. I really had zero experience. I literally had pulled a trigger over 1,000 yards once in my life, and it was a 3.3 Lapua that my buddy already had dialed in. He knew exactly where the hold was. He said, hold it here, pull trigger, boom, 1,200 yards, hit it. I learned a lot in a couple of days listening to Charlie and all that, and I kind of got into it. And so I came home, and I think that Clover and I must have spent, I mean, there's no telling me hours, you know, talking and going over different guns that would be a good one. And I kind of decided that I would like to get a 6.5 Creed, and I haven't yet, but I think that there will probably be a Savage 110 Stealth and 6.5 Creed sometime in the next year or so in the safe, because that's kind of where we kind of headed out for a good starter rifle. But I like the 6.5 Creed. I know that is so the military has gone to 6.8. But I know that what they wanted to do was go with, they initially wanted 6.5. They wanted their standard issue rifle, not their long range, but their standard issue rifle to be able to go. Because right when I was in, you had the A2, and I can't give you the dimensions of the A4 as far as ballistics. With the A2, the maximum effective range of the A2 was about 600 yards. It probably had a max range of 750 to 800 yards, but max effective was about 600. And I know that probably the M4 is probably a little bit higher than that, but I know that the 6.5 was what they were looking for because they wanted to get the standard issue rifle in the military to be able to have the ability to reach out to 1,000 yards. I think what happened and I would love to see the test results. I don't know if they've really made all of those exactly public yet, but they said that the 6.8 outperformed the 6.5. I don't know what their criteria was. Like I said, I haven't seen all that, but I know that the 6.5 was what the military actually wanted to go to. And it's funny because we bring in the 6.5, and Clover and I talk about this all the time. 2 years ago, the 224 Valkyrie was supposed to be the caliber of the year. Everybody said this and the other. And that same year, the 6.5 just took off. And I think it's obviously, it shoots a little bit flatter, but it's going to give 1,000-yard potential to a rifle that is shootable. I mean, you're talking relatively inexpensive to shoot 6.5 Creed. So I think that's probably where it is also. Clover, Jeff, want to bring you in 6.5 Creed.
Yes.
I also like it a lot.
He also like it. Sam said I was way off. You got a 6.5 back there?
That one.
There you go.
And that one. Oh, you can't see that one. It's up there. You have to trust me. It's right there.
Yeah. So the one behind you, what are you running with that?
Oh, I think that one too. Hold on. What is that? No, that's the 224 Valkyrie. That one. This is what did you ask?
What is it?
It's was it a PA-65? It's a Palmetto AR-10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can go read the review at gearreport.com. Gear-report.com. I don't understand why Mitch says that.
Why he calls that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but anyhow, you can see I'm not touching it because that would violate the rules. Yes, and I am not a rule breaker.
Yeah. I'm not going to go that far, but okay.
No, but Caleb reviewed that rifle, and it's funny you mentioned a Savage because right here, you can see my wrist. You can see my wrist. That I'm holding the end of the barrel of a Savage. What is it? A 10 GSR, I believe.
Yeah,
and that's in 6.5 Creedmoor. And that one's got the big Vortex Razor 2 HD2 monster scope on it, and that is a beast. I really like it, and it's threaded. And I put the I'm blanking on what it's called now. What's the inside of it? Looks like a turbine. It's a big titanium can. Oh, why am I blanking on this? OSS. It's an OSS can.
Okay.
That I put on it.
Yeah, I'm suppressor ignorant, so
yeah,
it is. Let's see here. I just saw something. JMA says I got the Ruger Precision in 6.5 Creed and freaking love it. Just want to know what the pros think. Have you guys shot the Ruger Precision in 6.5 before?
Oh, I reviewed one, and it may have been. I can't remember if it was 6.5 or not. Let me look that up.
Did you like it?
I loved it. For the money, here's the deal. So it is not a cheap rifle, but when you get into those kind of precision-oriented chassis rifles, man, it is hard to take it off-the-shelf rifle and do better than the Ruger Precision rifle. That thing was very impressive. Oh, it was in 6.5 Creedmoor. Yes.
You'll find that review on gearreport.com as well, too, couldn't you?
Yes, you can. And so the picture, to give you you guys haven't shot with me much, but you probably shot with me enough to know that, like, when I walk up, Charlie doesn't go like, dude, I'm so glad you came. You know, the precision shooters, they don't know me, right? I'm not a precision shooter, But the big image for this RPR in 6.5 Creedmoor review is measuring a group at 100 yards at 0.311 inches. It was a 3-shot group.
Wow.
And that was shooting
at center to center or edge to edge?
It's center to center.
Nice. So hell yeah.
Yeah. And that was shooting open tip match American Eagle 6.5 Creedmoor ammo, which is not like high-end match ammo. That's, I mean, it's okay, but as far as match ammo goes, that's kind of generally that AE is kind of low on the scale. So yeah, I mean, if I can do that, and that was using I believe I had a Sightmark scope on that, which is not to say it was a crappy scope, but rather I don't think I had one of the high-end scopes on there. Nope, I lied. It was one of the Vortex Razor HD2s. So
yeah, it was a cheap one.
Yeah,
about $1,200.
It barely was over $2,000. So yeah,
barely, just touch over. Let's see here. AWAG says that his ultimate goal. I'm sorry, before we go into there, Clover. Any thing with the Ruger Precision?
Yeah, I mean, I've shot the Ruger Precision, and it's a very, very nice rifle. I'm not gonna knock that. As far as did I like it? As far as the way it performed, I do. I'm not a big chassis rifle guy, though. I prefer more traditional stock.
Yeah. Your Savage is.
Well, I mean, that's a precision rifle stock, but it's more traditional rather than a chassis.
Right. Yeah. You don't like the futuristic look, huh?
I don't like the feel. I mean, not like the all aluminum and all. I just don't like it. Just doesn't look as good. And it just the feel when you're on the rifle, something about your cheek on the comb and that kind of stuff. It's just not, to me, it's not the same.
Hashtag Fud Life, baby.
Yeah. There you go.
How about if we call it aluminium? Do you like it better than aluminium?
No.
Full.
Okay.
Still in that.
Yeah. So before we get off the RPR though, really shot well, but there were some things about how it was made that I thought they kind of cheaped out on. There are a couple parts that they went plastic that I thought they could have spent a couple extra dollars and made them metal. I'm thinking like the back of the bolt had a guide or something that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know there were a few things like they did so well at bringing the performance in a budget rifle and doing a lot of cool things, and then they cheaped out on just a couple little things, and I was like, really? But I mean, I wouldn't kick it out of the gun safe.
I'm trying to find JMA wants to know if I can post a link. I am doing a search real quick. And would it be under Ruger Precision 6.5 Creed, you think?
Huh? What? My review?
Yeah.
It's called Enhanced Ruger Precision Rifle Small Groups.
Ruger.
Yeah. Kind of a nonsense title.
Okay, so copy link address. So JMA. There's the link to the Gear Report review for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so AWAG was saying his ultimate goal for 300 Win Mag is first round. This is going to be impressive. First round hit at 1750, which is a mile on a milk jug. And I guess that's a milk jug challenge. I guess that's a thing. Damn, a mile on a milk jug. That'd be pretty sweet. I'm not going to lie. Let's see here. 223 out there says, anyone tried the Kano can yet? It's an adapter for threaded barrels that you can screw on an oil filter. We're going to move on.
So what I'll tell you, I haven't.
We don't have to move on. That's completely legal, and that is that goes through the process.
We were looking at the oil traps. Before SHOT Show a little bit.
No, that's different. That's
the solvent traps.
What he's talking about with the EconoCan is a legit. I mean, here's the thing, and once I explain this, you'll see why it is actually legit. So you buy, basically, it is sort of an adapter. It's kind of a two-piece thing, and it's either a fuel filter or an oil filter, basically, that screws onto an adapter, and then that screws on your firearm. Okay, so but you can't just swap out the filter once it gets to the point that the filter is shot out, wore out, whatever. You have to send that back to the company, which is, what's the name of the company that sells them? Do we know?
I can find out.
Something Gunworks.
CAD is Gunworks.
Yeah. You have to send it back to them, and they basically, then you have to send the adapter and the shot out filter back to them. They basically screw another filter on it and send it back to you. You got to pay for shipping on this, obviously, and it costs you $25. So every time that it gets wore out, you've got to take a $5 or whatever oil filter. You got to pay $25 for one. So over a traditional suppressor that has a 500,000 round lifespan or whatever, does it make financial sense to do that? No.
I'm going to test that. Alan at Quarter Horse Arms, that he does the FFL stuff for Gear Report. He's a manufacturer and an SOT, and I think he's already got a couple of these adapters, and it's nothing for him to legally add it to the books, and he has now created a suppressor. So I know he's been talking about that for about a year. We just hadn't done it yet, but I'm going to bump that up the list to do pretty soon, since there was a question about it.
We were talking earlier about point of impact shift, and I don't know, because I've never played with one of those, but I've got to think that point of impact shift is going to be unfreaking believable in that thing, because you've got to realize, if anybody's ever cut open an oil filter or a fuel filter, you've got a lot of paper and you've got a lot of really thin metal in there. And so that muzzle blast every time, is it warping or bending or moving anything around? Right. Because if it does, that's going to change your point of impact, I would think.
Yeah.
Sorry. Eating ice.
Yeah, you can't do that when you got a microphone on your head.
You guys hear that? All right. AWAG, I guess the 300 Win Mag that he was talking about, he just got a Steiner Military 3-12 by 50. Hopefully that will get the job done. 1,750 yards on a milk jug, man. Get that on video. I'm sure if it's a challenge, it's out there, but that's a hell of a shot, That's got to be, the weather conditions for that have to be pretty ideal as well, I'd imagine. So now you guys know a lot more than this, but colder weather typically works better for longer range travel. Is that correct, or is hotter weather usually going to help out with the flight? I've always heard that colder weather is better for aerodynamics. But I would. So I don't know, but as a pilot, I know that the air is less dense the warmer it gets, and I would think that from an aerodynamic standpoint, that would mean less resistance, but you get a whole lot more thermal activity with, heat waves that would make it harder to read your sight picture, shimmer and mirage and stuff like that. And it tend to get more instability in the lower atmosphere that could have wind patterns and microburst and wind shifts and that kind of thing. All of that said, Charlie doesn't know me, that I'm not a long range shooter, so I don't know. The only reason why he knows Chloe, at least for me, the reason he doesn't know me for being a long distance shooter, he knows me for being a long range like newbie. So he literally he held my hand but I've always been one that can pick up things pretty quickly, and I understand how shit works, and I understand how it's supposed to go. And it was so funny because by Sunday afternoon, like Charlie was on the phone or he had to go back to the house or something. And so I'm sitting there with these two guys making calls for him. And I literally knew shit about it, but I tend to pick stuff up. But once you understand a concept at that point, it's not understanding how to shoot long distance and actually being a good shot are two completely different things. I'm not saying I'm a good shot. I'm a good shot 500 yards and in, I'll wear you out. Sure. But at 1,000 to 1,500 yards, I don't even know at that point, being a good shot is great. But if you can't do the math and if you can't get set up for that shot, it doesn't matter how good of a shot you are. And that's where I've always been really good with math. So for me, that helped me, I guess. I understood what he was talking about with everything. So that helped me. But, I think once you get it there, you got to be a pretty good shot too. I mean, you can't jerk it and all that, but it was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved it. C4's out there. What's up, Sarge? Let's see here. JMA says wife just sold something, but he's on hold for a year before he can get his 50 BMG. The fact that it's just a year that you're on hold to get your 50 BMG, hashtag first world problems. Just saying,
Yeah, a little bit.
My wife put me a timeout for a year. I said, I can't, I've already got a 338 Lapua. I can't get my 50 BMG till next year. Damn. Sorry for you.
Go ahead. I was touring that Humvee parts factory last week.
Yep.
And the guy says, "Oh yeah, let me show you something." We go walking around the corner, and he unlocks a room. And I didn't notice we had just walked by a big reloading bench. He was pointing at some ballistic test material on the other side of the room. We walk by it. He unlocks the door and opens it, and he has a 50 BMG barrel clamped down to a shooting rest on the table beside a 20 millimeter. And he said he had his gunsmith make a receiver mount so he could take the receiver and not leave the whole firearm there. I don't have a 50 BMG, so the closest I could get was telling you about the one I saw. But he had a custom big block holding the barrel, like clamped down to the table. That's a BMG.
Big. He also had a 20 right next to it, didn't he?
Exactly. Yeah, big 20 millimeter. Yeah, for testing armor.
Badass.
Yeah, I haven't.
It's inside. This concrete wall is I'm sure that I don't know how deep it goes, like as far as thickness, but it's not outside. It's like 50 yards, you said, indoors.
Oh, it wasn't even 50 yards.
The noise producing that.
It couldn't have been more than 10 yards. And they don't shoot from within the room. You said they'll shoot handguns and other stuff in there, but when they shoot when they're doing armor testing, they set up cameras and they have a remote trigger actuator. They leave the room and go walk somewhere else. And they take the rounds off.
Especially on 20. I mean, the 50's gonna be loud enough, but can you imagine the 20? I mean, you'll just have blood coming from the ears. I mean, really, when you get done with it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. G23 says I should have challenged C4 Defense in the 22 push-up challenge. Clover did a video. I mean, anyone who wants to be a part of this, the whole thing is don't wait to be challenged, and we'll get into this. It might be a good way to segue into the Mental Health Awareness Month. But so basically, what happened was last night I got an email from our good friend Patriot in the Dark, and he got challenged with a 22 push-up challenge. It's from 22kill.com, and it's an organization that tries to make aware that 22 suicides committed by veterans every day and try to help out with mental health awareness and make sure that they get the treatment and they get help and people understanding that there's this problem out there. Patriot in the Dark challenged me to do the 22 push-up challenge. I did it, passed it on to Mark over at Fit and Fire. He did it today and he's passed it on and all that. And it's all it is to make people aware that may not understand this epidemic of suicides within the veteran community. Now, that being said, and I think that Clover can attest to this. This is not just a veteran thing, okay? The reason why that this is happening is this organization is made up of veterans, and they're using the 22 kill is the 22 suicides a day by veterans and LEO and first responders and all that. But obviously, suicide is not a veteran thing. It doesn't have to be like PTSD. That's the thing that really gets me is in the last few years, especially within the gun community and all of that, the veteran side, it's automatically assumed it's PTSD. And where I would say that a lot of it is, but there are a lot of other issues that could go on in mental health that are not related to PTSD whatsoever. And so anyone can be involved. This whole thing is about the veteran side of things, but the more and more we can talk about mental health and mental disease, that's the biggest thing is our society, whether you're a gun person or not, it doesn't matter. I've had friends die of suicide in my life, and the people that, and I'll put it this way, the people that typically succumb to the pressures are the people that from the outside, people would have never have guessed it. They're the ones that seemingly have their lives in order. Everything is good to go, but there's a darkness once they leave their friends. There's a darkness at home. There's a darkness somewhere. That's why you hear, I never would have thought Johnny or Jimmy or Jenny or Judy. I never would have believed that. Most people that are in that deep of a hole, this is from my experience, are very, very, very good at putting on a public face. And that's just something that we have to understand. But there are signs. There are signs. If you look back and there are signs that say, I should have caught that. I should have caught that. That being said, there are signs out there. And the whole point of this is if you are going through something and you need help, find someone to talk to. Please, please, please. If you know someone or you recognize someone having issues, don't wait till tomorrow. Say, well, I'll shoot them a text tomorrow. Don't shoot them a text tomorrow. Call them today. Go over to their house today, because tomorrow may be too late. And I am very happy and proud to be involved in this. Clover called today and kind of asked my opinion, since this is kind of a veteran type thing, and asked my opinion. I said, brother, do it. He wanted to do something, and I'm not putting words in Clover's mouth. He can explain it, but he didn't want people to misconstrue what he was trying to do, not being a veteran. I said, dude, do it. Once again, this is not just a veteran thing. This is to make people aware of what's going on, but this is a human thing. And if anyone gives you shit, fuck them. That's my opinion. This is something that's bigger than just military or, law enforcement or first responder. This is a human thing. There are people that have issues, and you're not alone. One of the greatest stories that you'll ever hear is the guy stuck in the hole, and he's yelling up, going, help me, help me, help me. And people are throwing ladders, they're throwing lights down there. Finally, a guy jumps in the hole. He says, what are you doing? And he goes, I came here to help. He goes, how can you help me? I'm stuck in this hole. And then you've jumped in. Now we're both stuck. He goes, yeah, the difference is I've been here before and I know the way out. That is powerful. There's always someone out there that's been there and knows the way out. And you can call myself. I'm sure Jeff would take your call. Clover would take your call. If you're struggling and you just need someone to talk to, man, I'm here. And I think that you'd find most people are here. And what I liked about Clover's video, and it was a great point that he put out there. And he said, he says, I'm a good listener. And I don't always agree with that. Clover likes to talk. No, I'm just kidding.
I really do. Yeah.
But the biggest thing I'll say is sometimes someone just needs someone to listen. And That's huge. And like I said in my video, sometimes a phone call saying, "Hey buddy, haven't talked to you in a while, just checking in. How you doing?" Sometimes that means more than anything, because you might not have been the only person that hasn't talked to Johnny in a while. Johnny might not have talked to anybody in a while. And getting that phone call says, "Hey bro, I haven't talked to you in a while. I was thinking about you. Everything going good? You doing good?" Sometimes that's exactly what they need to make it to another day. If you've never heard or read the book, but more importantly, if you've never heard Marcus Luttrell give a speech, and you guys probably know who Marcus Luttrell is, it's the lone survivor. Marcus Luttrell's whole thing was 3 feet. And if you've ever listened to one of his speeches, he said in his mind to get out of there, he wasn't thinking about getting to this village or getting home. It was pick out a spot 3 feet in front of me. I'm going to crawl to it. And when I get to that point, I'm picking out another spot 3 feet in front of me, and I'm going to crawl to it. And then I'm going to pick out another 3 feet in front of me, and I'm going to crawl to it. And he literally went, 3.5 miles, 3 feet at a time. And the same thing can be said for mental health. Don't try to fix it yourself. Don't think that there is a cure-all, be-all. Take it one day at a time. One day at a time. You try to get through this day. Find something in your life that can get you through this day, whether it's a friend, a child, a loved one, a picture, a song, whatever, a movie. Do something that gets you 3 feet away to the next day. And then when you get to that next day, you start back over and you find something. Next thing you know, you've put 3 weeks of good days behind you. And now maybe life doesn't seem so bad. Don't try to fix everything right away. Take it one day at a time and know that there are people out here to help you, that love you, and are willing to do whatever they can to help. So I'm sorry that I kind of went down that tangent. Clover, I know that you might want to talk about your video. And I thought, when you were explaining to me, you didn't tell me what you wanted to do. You said you're going to come at it from a different point of view. And I loved what you did. So I'm going to give you the floor for a little bit and talk about your video and why you did what you did.
Well, I didn't want to give it away was part of that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That way I could get kind of an authentic response from you on, that's why after I'd put it up, it was unlisted. I'd sent you the link at that point,
right.
Or it's a few
I
hours before I published it. But yeah, it was one of the things.
It's not published?
Yeah, it is now. Yeah. I
okay. I'm sorry.
Around 4 o'clock or so I posted, but I sent it to you around 2, I think, or so.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the way I wanted to approach it is, first of all, I found out about this, and I can't do 22 push-ups. I mean, the most I possibly could do after some rest and eating my Wheaties and everything else was maybe 15 or 18, like maybe. In the last few of those, I mean, I was struggling bad, right? But if I did it in reps, so there was a little bit of preparation for me to do it, obviously. But if I did it in reps with a few minutes of, stretching and relaxing time and drinking some water and some other things in between, I could do it in like 4 different reps. I could do the 22. So I thought, okay. But I wanted to do something. And, what got me was your video. And you called out, who was it that you called out first?
Ron Holmes, our buddy from Riker USA. Yeah. And Ron's got literally had 13 surgeries, and that's why he came up with the Riker group, because he's got nothing left in his shoulders. And I figured I'd love to call Ron out as a force dude, but I just knew physically there's no way in hell he could do it.
Right. And so that made an impression on me when I seen yours that, here you've got these heroes, right? And so what if they're disabled? What if they're not able to participate in this? So in the same way that, they enlisted and they went out on the front lines to protect my freedoms and my way of life, here's a way I can give back, right? Yeah, it's going to suck trying to do, push-ups. I'm not going to lie, even doing them in reps sucked. But this is something I can do potentially for them. I can stand in for them, right? There's no way I can stand in for them on a battlefield. It's just, it doesn't work that way. But at least in this, I can stand in. And then, so it for me, it was also a gateway thing to Yeah, I mean, we start out, we talk about, veterans and the suicide rate with veterans and that sort of stuff. But then after, and I'm going to, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the video, go watch it or whatever. But I talk about that, talk about why I'm doing it, of course. And then I put some comical music to the push-ups because honestly, I thought it was quite comical watching myself try to
I enjoyed it immensely.
So I think the music, it was almost like clown music. And
like the last set, I'm not so sure if they're push-ups or you just lifting your ass up and down. I'm not real sure.
I can tell you from my shoulders and my arm, I can promise you, I was pushing. So some of them did get a little weird. Some of them did. I tried to keep everything as flat as I could. But anyway, and then after that is when, I take it more into away from. So I get it. I already got some nasty comments here and there on it about, this is degrading to veterans, blah, 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 blah. And here's the problem with the mentality of people that are out there and that talk like that is you're not doing your fellow man any favors by saying crap like that, because everybody can be affected with some type of a mental issue, be it a complex issue or something that's just occasional. I talk about some of the issues I struggle with occasionally, and I know why I struggle with them, and that's how I'm able to manage them and all of that kind of stuff. But, having people out there that say, oh, you shouldn't be calling out military and saying that they have mental issues and blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, we don't need to be
about, though. That's what this program is about.
Exactly what it's. Yeah,
exactly. It's awareness.
It's about, they need to understand that we don't care, that it's a situation where we want you to come out. Right. Mm-hmm. And, but I also wanted it to be, and like I said, I think most of those that have put the nasty comments, they didn't watch it all the way through. I mean, we know that watch time, people don't watch maybe half of a video, right? And so that was the second half where I led into, this is about everybody. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, blah, blah, blah. And I went through all of the different organizations and other things. So, it was an opportunity to kind of give back in my own little way. And I felt very compelled to do that when I heard about the challenge, but then also talk about the non-veteran side of things as well. So it was almost a 1-2 punch type thing where, I could achieve several goals in one video, however taxing to my body that video may have been.
For me, and I was a little nervous about my video because I didn't just make it about 22 kill. I went in and discussed about Walk the Talk America and Hold My Guns, and being that May is Mental Health Awareness Month, there are other organizations out there that are doing great work within our community. And so I was a little nervous. I said, I wonder if 22 kills going to get pissed that I didn't make it just about them, and I don't know. I haven't heard from them. I'm assuming that they probably haven't seen it, but if they do, I can't imagine that them caring. But that was something that I was going through mentally is I didn't want to upset them, but I also found that this was a great opportunity to get the word out about other organizations that are doing other projects within the mental health arena in the firearms community. And like I said, for me, it's interesting. There are a lot of people out there that take shit personally when it comes to veterans. And there is a part of the veteran community, and Jeff probably knows some people out there like this as well. There are veterans out there that despise anyone who didn't serve saying anything about veterans. And I don't understand that. I don't. But there are people out there that just, despise it. But something like this, when you're talking about awareness and you're trying to talk about a disease that, for the most part, not just the gun community, but not just the veteran community, but the society as a whole has kind of put baby in a corner. It's the ugly truth that no one really wants to talk about is suicide and mental health. And the fact that we're all trying to bring awareness to this and saying, This is not something we should be embarrassed about. The reason why people have historically not gotten help is because they were embarrassed, or they were going to be felt smaller as a human being for admitting that they had issues. And that could be further from the truth. Guys, this is what it's about, is brother and brother helping each other out. And we're not talking brother in arms. We're talking just human beings being human and saying, we've got people out there that are truly going through mental hell right now and truly feel there's no one else out there in the world to talk to. And how in the hell can anyone get upset about bringing that to light? I don't understand that. Whether you're a veteran or not, it makes no difference to me.
You know, I wonder if part of it, and I don't know, anytime we start talking about mental health and we start talking about these things, we can go down a bunch of different rabbit holes. But, you know, I've got to wonder that if the naysayers, the people that, you know, are afraid to confront it, that get defensive when you talk about it, that bail on your chats when you bring it up, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, we lost half of our audience the second we start bringing this shit up.
I've got to wonder in the whole grand scheme of mental health. And mind you, there's a wide spectrum of mental health problems. I've got to wonder if it doesn't say more about those people than it does about the person bringing up the awareness.
I'll say this, and Jeff, you can jump in, man. Anytime you want to jump in,
I don't think he wants to get in the middle of it. He's like all non-controversial.
He's the intelligent one of the three here. So I will say this is, you're talking about, it says something about the person not wanting to be comfortable or be around discussions like this. And that's probably very true. And that's sad. But those are the same people that have for years been putting issues like this in the corner. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. It's not really happening. It's not really a thing. It's not there. It is a thing. And there's a lot other things that are just as important. But right now, we're talking about mental health awareness. And, you know, and it's one of those things that, no, G23 says, sorry for bringing this up. No, it's in the title. We were going to talk about mental health. This was one of the topics before you even brought it up, bro. So this was this is one of the things. And it is. It's a little disconcerting to me to know that half of our audience has left literally the second that we start talking about this. And that's okay. Maybe they're just uncomfortable talking about stuff like this. Maybe they're immature, and that's fine. Maybe they just want to talk guns. They just want to talk about optics. They just want to talk about calibers. They just want to talk about their $2,000 scopes on their $5,000 rifles. That's cool. I get that. And I have no problem with that. But listen to this. This is just as much part of the gun community as that scope. This is just as important, if not more important, than your rifle. Because here's the thing. If you want to talk strictly guns, okay, what is the first thing that happens when there is a mass murder? The media and everyone say, guy's crazy. Guy's crazy. No one in their right mind would do something like that. So right off the bat, you're talking about a crazy gun owner. First thing, before we start deciphering what kind of weapon that they're saying it was, all this fully semi-automatic assault rifle, that was a shotgun, by the way. But, you know, before we even start deciphering and breaking down the lies and the ignorance of what weapons are being used, the very first thing that we have to fight is a crazy gunman. Mental health is a real, guys, and it's not just PTSD. It's not just depression. It's a lot of things. And if you don't want to talk about it on these chats, that's fine. But shame on you if you keep ignoring this conversation, because mental health awareness in our community is huge. If you want to start fighting back the mass media on different things, we've got to figure out, one, how to have that conversation, and two, if we love using the stat that the media is going to put out X amount of deaths per year by gun. And the first thing that every single one was coming back and say, yeah, but 2/3 of those were suicide. 2/3 of those are suicide.
So
But we say in a casual way to defend our point that not all of them are our fault. 2/3 are suicide. The fact that we just dismiss 2/3 because it's suicide is disgusting, guys. It's disgusting. Why can't we have this discussion? And why can't we figure out if we drop that number of 66% are suicide? If we drop that number, now we're talking a significant change in deaths in America by gun. And not only that, we're helping our society have more productive citizens that are getting help. So to hell with the people that want to leave here. Fine, leave. It's fine. But the fact that people leave because they don't want to have this conversation tells me they don't really care about the gun community. They care about their own guns. That's me. That's my mic drop. Sorry. Jeff, you have anything you want to bring in, or do you want to stay away from the topic? Go for it.
No, I absolutely. I want to expand the topic.
Okay.
And you touched on it earlier. One or both of you. This is not new ground, but we've had the issue with veterans taking their own lives for a while, and one of the things I'm really worried about is in the coming months we've got so many people that I hate to use the word quarantined. Quarantine's driving people crazy. Well, for one, I don't know anyone who's actually been quarantined. That word has a real meaning, and social distancing and try to stay home some isn't quarantine, but not to make light of the stress that this puts on people. So when you combine the stress of being taken out of your normal environment, your normal routine, now you're locked at home. I mean, let me tell you, I got 3 high school kids. And a wife that's usually at work, and having everyone home right now is stressful for me. I can imagine I'm still able to work, and my wife and I are still bringing in money. So I can imagine all the people that, because of all these stay-home orders and businesses being shut down, they don't know if they're even going to have a job to go back to.
Exactly.
The stress is really, really intense. And I know that with every passing day, there are some people feeling hopeless out there. So, if anyone listening to this is feeling that way, talk to someone. Don't do anything drastic. That's where you mentioned the scout meeting that normally keeps me from making this show. They wrap it up with something called the Scoutmaster Minute. It's just a little brief parting message to kind of give them a constructive thought of the way out. And I thought maybe I was going to have to do that. So I was thinking, what am I going to say? And what I was going to say is, don't spend your time. You have an opportunity. This is a gift. If you are stuck at home, if you're not able to work, this is a gift. You have time to go learn something new. Don't sit around and feel sorry for yourself. What can you do constructive? I saw something. I don't know if you've done this. I need to do this. I told my wife about it earlier. I'm going to tell my kids about it. Harvard has a whole page full of links to online certificate classes that they're offering for free right now. You can take classes at Harvard and get a certificate for completing them for free.
I had not heard. That's awesome.
You're gonna look for a new series on Netflix, or you're gonna go improve yourself. So instead of feeling sorry and depressed about being at home, go do something constructive and make your life better. And set the example for other people who are feeling despair and hopeless. There's so many things you can do to create hope, to keep moving in a positive direction. And I've known a number of people who have struggled with depression, and being there and talking to other people has actually helped them as much or more as anything else. I was thinking about ending it, but my friends need me. I got to stay here for them. You know what? Don't be afraid to call people. Don't be afraid to give them a reason to stick around. So yeah.
It's one of those that's day to day, and I, like I said, you hear it different ways, and I'm sure we've all heard it different ways of discussing it. Live each day by day. The most powerful that I've ever heard was Marcus Luttrell, 3 feet at a time. I wasn't even thinking about making it to tomorrow. I was thinking about 3 feet from there, and when I literally got 3 feet, I'm going 3 feet again, and that was something to me is breaking it even more into baby steps and saying, look, we can worry about tomorrow. I want to get 5 minutes from now. I want to make it through the next hour. You know, if I can get to the next hour, then my favorite TV show comes on at 8:30 or whatever, you know, whatever it is. Holy shit. Hold on. I want to stop in here. Man, Buck, you have no idea, bro. Gun Loving Grandpa, $20. Let's do it every month. I tell you what, Buck, what I want to do is I'm going to donate that to 22 Kill. And that's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm gonna donate that $20. He says, let's do it every month. I agree. That was my whole point. This shouldn't be just a May thing. This should be a life thing. Every month we might have. I would love to have a mental health discussion every month and bring in Mike and Rob and Sarah and Genevieve and throw someone in for 22 Kill or survivors and different things like that would be amazing. But yeah, I'm gonna appreciate you, Buck. You have no idea, brother. I'm gonna send that over and donate it to 22 Kill. So thank you so much. I'm sorry, who was I talking to? Oh, I was talking about the 3 feet at a time. That was just, to me, that's the most powerful thing I've ever heard. If I can make it an hour, we do the next hour, and then when we get to tomorrow, we'll start that shit over again. You know, I love that. Go ahead, Chloe. I think you had something you want to bring up.
Yeah, I mean, two things that I wanted to sort of follow up on is one with what Jeff was saying about using this time and doing things. I talk about it all the time with, what are you volunteering with your community? Are you a part of your community? And what are you doing in your community? And quite often when I've said that in the past, people I met with, well, I'll work so many hours a day, blah, 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 blah. And I got all this.
Yeah.
You don't? Well, you probably don't, or you maybe don't now. Right. Yeah. So are you just sitting on the couch or can you use this time, put on a face mask, whatever you got to do to go down and serve soup at the soup kitchen or, volunteer with a youth group or do something, right? Big Brother program or something you could reach out and do for others in this time. I mean, especially if your company's paying you, you're drawing a check, whatever. If you're running around doing odd jobs because you ain't getting paid and you got to, get your bills paid and meet your, I get that. I understand you don't have the time, but if you do legitimately have the time, volunteer, because that's going to give you a whole different perspective. That's going to start changing your mind and your attitude. And when you do, you start seeing the world in a little different light and you start seeing it in more of a reality. The second thing was following up, earlier, I was talking about some of the issues I've struggled with, and I know that some people out there in the chat have probably already heard this. People on the panel, I think, here have for sure. But, one thing you talked about is how, people that, I think there was somebody in the chat that said that he was struggling with some stuff, and then he didn't realize it until he got his father and mother and sister and pastor and all these other people. You talked about it. There's people that refuse to, see it, to stop and look and see the issues that's going on. And a lot of times this was true with me, that I didn't know what was going on, right? I was having issues. I was having some depression issues and fatigue, and it's just some weird stuff was going on. And it took a while. I had to make the concerted effort to go, okay, what is really my problem here? And it was really simple. It required no medication. It doesn't require me to go see a therapist or anything else. Rain, lack of sunshine, creates a mental issue with me. It mentally and physically bothers me. And it took a while for me to put
that's legitimate. I can attest to that.
Yeah, it took a while to put 2 and 2 together and figure that out. But once I figured it out, it was empowering, because now when it rains and I'm in a bad mood or I'm tired, it's like the rain will quit tomorrow. It's all good. I can make it. It's like you say, those baby steps, make it 3 foot, make it till tomorrow. It's like, I just got to tough this out till the rain stops. It's not going to rain forever. You know, the sun will come out tomorrow, like the Andy song said, right? And so there's something empowering with that, and knowing that you can, once you figure it out, you can overcome that.
I can't keep a straight face when Jeff is putting the side chat, so I tried, man. I tried. He's a great straight man. I couldn't keep a straight face. What's up, Stan? No, I think a lot of it. I think what people need to understand. I think it was JMA when he came home from overseas. He made a comment that he didn't realize that he felt like he didn't fit in. He felt like that. He was, a different, and you are different. I mean, regardless of what happens, if you go to the military, and I can't speak for any of the branches, I'm sure they're all the same, but you go to the military and you go to boot camp. Okay. Boot camp is a reprogramming of your brain to take you from a civilian mindset to a military/team concept. So regardless of where you went, what you did in the military, you make it through boot camp, you're not the same person than the 18-year-old kid that left Johnny and Judy and Sally and mom and dad. You're not the same person. Just naturally, you're changed. You've been indoctrinated into something that is bigger than you. You've been, for lack of a better word, institutionalized for a while, that everyone else's life has gone on, and you're stuck in a barracks, you're stuck in a squad bay, whatever you want to call it, for 3 months, and you do the same shit day in and day out, and your life freezes, in your mind freezes for those 3 months. You do nothing but this in this box. You go home, and everyone around you has moved on. Their time hasn't stopped for those 3 months. Now take that, you go overseas for a year. I was gone for over a year, and you come home, and even mom and dad look different. You're like, what the hell? And much less all of your friends that are doing the same shit they probably were when you left. You're gone for a year, and you come home, and the fight is real, because your life has been about one thing for a year, and their life has been about 17 other things. You come home and you have purpose, you have drive, you have vision, you've seen stuff that they will never understand. You've done things that they will never understand or get to do ever. And the fact that you come home and you feel like that you've just been left behind, you have. Okay, but it doesn't make it a bad thing. Okay, you chose to do something for your life and for your country. And I'm not saying that those people didn't, but your life has changed. You're never going to be the same Trey that you were at 17. You're never going to be that same person. So instead of trying to fight that, embrace that. Understand that there is nothing wrong with being different than the people you left behind. The problem that happens typically, and I'm not speaking for all of it, typically is this. Someone comes home from being overseas, and there's some things that they can talk about. There's things that they cannot talk about. There's things that they don't want to talk about. But everyone wants to hear the war stories. Everybody wants those stories, because they don't understand. They watch TV and they watch movies. They want to know all the guns that you shot, all the things that you did. Oh man, you jumped out of helicopters. You did all that. What's that like? And all you want to do is get away from it. You're on leave for 30 days. You just want to get away from that shit, or you got out. The last thing you want to talk about is what the hell you just did for the last 4 years. To them, it's playing G.I. Joe. To you, it's life. And they don't understand that by asking those questions affects you. But here's the thing. Sometimes it's good to have those conversations. And you don't have to tell them all of the things, all of the details if you don't want to. But here's the thing. They're never going to understand you if you don't allow them to. And that's a tough pill to swallow. But there are things that you don't want to talk about. I understand that. but let them in as much as you're willing to and as well as you can. Why do most marriages, military marriages, end? A lot of it is the husband comes home from overseas and just doesn't want to talk and doesn't realize what the wife has done for the last year with the kids and everything. That basically been the husband and the wife supporting, getting the kids to school every day, doing all that for a year. They were by themselves, and all they want to do is, how was it? What was it like? How are you okay? And the more and more you shut them out, they're never going to understand. So I'm not saying that you've got to open up to them. I'm saying that if you ever are feeling like you're alone, open up to someone you trust, whether it's another veteran or just someone. Open up and tell your story, because I promise you're going to feel better getting that shit off your chest. But I want you to understand also is they ask because they don't know. And some of them are truly asking because they want to know what you did. They want to know. And I get that you don't want to talk about it out sometimes, but sometimes talking about it makes you feel better. And I'm sorry I went on another soapbox, but a lot of it just comes down to the second you say I do, and I swear to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, your life's different. You're no longer that same person. Accept that and embrace that. Jeff, when you took the oath, I mean, your friends probably moved on and did other things, and how hard. I mean, for me, it was weird. It was really, really weird. I don't know how was it for you? I mean, when you came home, and for you, that 3 months you spent seemed like it took 2 days, because you were doing so many things. It just felt like it just flew by, and then you get there and everything in your life has changed. Was it weird for you as well?
You got the wheels turning here, because
I'm sorry. It kind of went down a weird hole. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. And I've been reading the comments, I'm listening to you, and I've been thinking about two things. One is, you talked about you go away for a few months and you come back, and it's like your life went on hold, but everyone else kept moving. I had never really looked at it like that, but as you were saying that, I was sitting here thinking back to, okay, wow, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Is everything about my personal life stopped. Yeah. And then I was in a bubble for a while with laser focus. I wasn't allowed to think about anything else. I got through basic, I got through tech school, and I did it over the summer. Like, I get out of school, and a couple days later, I left for basic, went from there to tech school. By the time I got done, it was 3 days into the next semester. At the end of the summer, I get back to college, and everyone else is talking about partying and having fun all summer, and all the cool things they did, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And it really was exactly what you said, where everyone moved on. And I saw some people commenting, DMR and Jefferson Martial Arts and G23 and Duncan, all talking about different. There are a lot of references to other people who came home from war. So I was very fortunate in that I graduated high school in '90, and I did 2 years of college before I went into the Air Force. And during that time, the first Gulf War finished, basically. And then I was in during that period in between the Gulf Wars, where things kind of simmered down. I think a lot of young people don't understand that it was, we thought it was done and we were moving on, and then it flared up again later, So I was in that in-between period. So I was in with some people who had been there for the first one. A year or two before I got to the unit, they were doing some heavy shit. And I was at that point, I was in aircraft maintenance. So heavy for us was, they were living in Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or someplace. And they were close enough that they saw some things. They didn't have to pick up guns and go do things, because we were fixing airplanes. But so I was around them, but the one that really struck me from the comments was thinking about my mom's father. Uh, he was at the Battle of the Bulge and a couple other of the
Oh, wow.
big battles in World War II,
Sure.
and he was actually captured. He was a prisoner of the Germans for I'm not even sure how long, but he wouldn't talk about it at all,
Yeah.
and it blew away a number of people in the family. That he had talked to me about some things a couple years before he died. Oh, and there go the hairs on my arms standing up now thinking about it. But after I'd served for a few years, um, and had done some tours that took me overseas, he opened up about some things, and there's some talk about people being afraid of being judged when they get back for things that they did, and I think that had a lot to do with him. He felt two things. He felt like he'd be judged for things he did, and also judged for things that he felt that he failed at. Losing people because he felt like, oh, I should have seen that coming. I should have been able to do this. If I'd have done this, I'd have saved whoever. And that guilt is absolutely crippling. And he felt like he couldn't talk to anyone about it. And I'll tell you, it seemed to be a big weight off of him when we were able to talk about it. And I would certainly encourage anyone, I can't personally relate because I was in between conflicts, and while I did travel the world and dealt with some emergencies and things in aircraft and had it more than once where I was pretty certain I was going to die in uniform. I was fortunate to make it through all that, and I don't really have any of those stories. I can't relate to the people who've been there in combat. I've heard enough about it that it makes my heart pretty heavy just thinking about it. And I can't imagine feeling like you have to carry that burden by yourself. So, I would certainly say to anyone, please don't feel like you have to carry that burden yourself. Don't worry. You know what? And don't worry about being judged. I'd love to tell you, hey, there's never going to be any judgment. The people who love you are going to understand. Some may not. But
Right.
you get it off your chest. You say what you have to, and move on. And not everyone's going to get it because not everyone's been there. Not everyone's had that kind of experience. But you did what you did. For whatever reasons were important at the time, and you can't change it. So that's the other thing that I would say is, focus on what you can control. You can't control the past. So focus on what you can do to make things better and give yourself a positive direction now.
Yeah, I want to bring Clover in. I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but you made mention up in the chat a few minutes ago, and you and I have had this discussion privately. Clover knows a lot of stuff about me that most people don't, and he's one of the people that I do feel comfortable talking to. But he made mention about being friends with some Vietnam vets, and these guys, holy shit, how not us, but how America and society treated these people for going somewhere that most of them were drafted to. Let's be real, didn't have a choice. Is amazing. But I don't know if you want to talk about that, but if you could, or if you would want to, I would love for them to hear some of the stuff that you and I have talked about privately.
Well, one of the things is that that I want to throw out there with that, I guess, first of all, is when what was it, JMA, I think, was talking about the whatever about people judging him or all of that. One thing that I found, you've got two different types, it seems like, right? You've got, well, technically, I guess you've got three. You've got one that's going to hold it in and never talk to anybody.
Right.
You've got one that is only going to talk to the ones that they can identify with. That's who they feel comfortable around. But there's something to be said about having a veteran, especially that's been through some tragic stuff, which, I've got, one of the ones that in my mind, he passed away quite a few years ago. Man, he was in an ambush. He was the only one in his whatever. See, I'm not even military enough to tell you if it's a platoon or a squad or what the crap it was, but he was walking through the jungles of Vietnam. They got ambushed, and he was the only one that made it out, and he made it out paralyzed from the waist down. I've heard from him a lot of bad stories, really bad stories. That being the worst, obviously, and with him, it was a situation to where it was weird because he wouldn't talk to other veterans. He wanted to talk with somebody that knew absolutely nothing about what they did, and he wanted to talk to somebody. Yeah, he wanted to talk to somebody that couldn't identify with him because he felt that I couldn't pass judgment because I didn't understand, and he was just wanting somebody to listen. So he would literally just tell these stories, and I'd be like, wow, that's, I'm speechless, or that's amazing, or that's wild, or that would be almost my response every single time. Hey, I'm sorry you had to go through that, or something like that. That's about all I can say, because it's something that I could never wrap my brain around some of the crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's one of the, and I've talked to a gentleman. Oh man, this is maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I had an opportunity to speak with 3 or 4 Medal of Honor winners on a Friday afternoon. Did a live chat, and they were down all together and did a live chat, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh man, but I listening to some of these guys when they are truly last man standing in their whole platoon. Let's say a platoon's 24 people, and you're last man standing. I don't know if I'd want to live with that. I really don't. I don't, and that sounds bad, but can you imagine every day for the rest of your life knowing that you're 1 out of 24? It can go one of 2 ways. It can go with, don't want to do this anymore. I shouldn't have been the one that made it. Or it can turn into, hey, I'm going to honor my 22 brothers for the rest of my life every day. And, but listening to some of these guys from Vietnam talk about literally the only person out of their platoon that made it, I can't fathom what they go through.
They didn't get the whole Marcus Luttrell treatment either.
Right? Oh no.
Marcus comes back from that whole ordeal, and I mean, he's pseudo celebrity, and he's using it for a great cause. So don't think that I'm knocking on Marcus at all. No. Marcus is an exceptional guy.
More than his choice,
I'm just saying public perception. He comes back from that, and he's this rock star that can now motivationally speak to people and whatever. But you had an untold amount of soldiers that come back from Nam with the same type stories and situations as Marcus Luttrell that got spit on when they come back. And that's horrible.
Yeah. JMA out there says, Ghost, you remember the buddy program? I do remember the buddy program. My best friend at the time in high school, we had a lot of fun. And that was honestly most people that have heard my story. That's the reason why, one of the big reasons why I joined the Marine Corps was it was to the point where I needed to do something or I might not make it much longer. It was pretty bad into drugs and alcohol. Made the right choice, but my best friend Travis, he was the one who actually, I never even thought about it. He was like, hey man, we should go talk to a recruiter. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And we were going to go join the Army. And we set up one night and stayed up all night talking. Some of the best conversations and the best enlightenments that you have is at 5 o'clock in the morning when you're dog tired, because at that point your true feelings and true emotions are usually coming out because you're so damn tired to hide them. You just talk. And we decided to go, and we drive over to the recruiting office there in Plano, and you've got all 4 of the branches, actually all 5 of them, but And I said, you know what? If we're going to do this, let's do it right. He's like, what do you mean? And I said, if we're going to do this, then I've always been that ultra competitive guy. Like, I'll cut your throat if I can beat you in marbles, like for real. Like, that's just how I am. And I basically said, if I'm going to do this, then I want to go the hardest way possible. So I went to the Marine Corps office instead of the Army office. And my grandfather was in the Army, but I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all the way in. And I went to the Marine Corps office, and a week before we left, Travis decided this ain't for him. And so I went to boot camp without my buddy. And the buddy program is you go in together. Chances are you're going to be in the same job. You'll go to school together. It's that built-in support system right from the get-go. And Travis, this very day, we don't talk as much in the last few years as we used to. But when we get together, he always apologized. And I told him, dude, I was going to go regardless. That's on, don't apologize to me. He always felt that I went because at that point, it was almost too late. Might as well go. And I said, I went because I needed to go. And I don't hold a grudge towards him. I think my mom might have for a while, but I never held a grudge towards Travis. And, yeah, he would apologize for a while, but I never held a grudge. The buddy program was a good idea. I don't know if they still have it or not. I don't know. Did they have the buddy program in the Air Force there, Jeff, that you knew of?
Not that I know of, but I don't know. I didn't go the traditional path. I'd already been in college a couple years, and I went in as a reservist. So I knew where I was going and what I was going to be doing and how long I was going to be doing it and all of that. So it's very different than the way most people went in.
Yeah. JMA said his buddy came in with him and they both went to force and he died in his lap. And he said his death is on him because they joined because he asked. No, it's not, bro. Here's the thing. Just like Travis, he had his own decision to make. And your buddy chose to go. That's the one thing about, this is a truly voluntary service. And people don't know this about recon and force recon. You can go be an 03, which is basic infantryman. To be an 0321, which is a recon Marine, you have to volunteer for that school. So not only do they volunteer, bro, he volunteered to join and enlist. He had to volunteer to go to force. And people may not know that about force recon. It's a voluntary thing, just like Buds is with SEALs, Ranger School, and all that. It's they can't say, hey, you're going to be force recon. No, you're an 0321 at this point. You're a recon Marine, but that's all voluntary. So his death is not on your shoulders, bro. He had multiple checkpoints that he could have taken a different path, and he chose to go down that path. And I don't even know. I don't have the words, bro, but I can tell you this: it's not on you. It's definitely not on you for sure. I'm sorry, that kind of hit me pretty hard right there reading that. Give me a call sometime, brother. Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It got heavy.
Well, but so let's talk about that. I think this is fantastic. I think that seeing, I don't know your full background, Ghost, but I know when you and Ron were talking, when we tried to crash the SIG range day out there at SHOT, you and Ron were talking, and I was like,
different sides. We were in same unit on brother units. He was in Lejeune and I was at Pendleton. And it's a small unit, so there are very few of the strict guys still around. Sorry about that. Go ahead, yeah.
So I'm listening to you guys, and I'm like, wait a second. You mean Ghost wasn't like just a Marine, but he was like a legit badass. And not to say you aren't still, but when you meet someone decades after they got out of that, it's It's like, oh, I didn't know the person you were then. So, so when you know someone as that, you know them by reputation, as you were one of those guys, you were one of the tough guys, you were one of the hard guys, you were one of the badasses.
I'm not as bad as a lot of the guys.
You just broke down a little bit, I guess what I'm saying is it humanizes the badasses. I think it can go a long way to help people who are suffering to say, wait a second, if this guy's a badass and he's getting emotional and breaking down about this, I don't have to feel bad about it myself. I don't have to be John Wayne. I can be human. I can have feelings. I can have emotions. It's okay that I'm sad about these things. It's okay that I'm upset, that I don't enjoy the things I had to do. It's okay. So I think it's good to humanize this and put a face on it and say, you know what, you don't have to feel good about everything you did, and you don't have to feel bad. You don't have to beat yourself up over feeling bad about it. People are forced to do things they don't want to all the time, military or not, and people have things that they were in a position where they had to do it. And you may have guilt living with that, but that's normal. It's a normal part of life. It doesn't make you a bad person, and that there's still a lot that you can do to contribute, and don't feel bad about having emotion. I think it's a good thing to show a little bit of emotion here.
Thank you. Yeah, let's fuck that. Yeah, that hit me. That hit me pretty hard. What JMA was talking about, and he's not the only one that's out there like that went in and feels like that their buddy's blood's on their hands, and that's just one of those things that. Well, again, you go into that life, bro. There's 17 different areas and different decisions they could have said no to. And they chose to run in, it takes a special person to run into fire.
What?
I got this. And we're lucky that your friend was there, bro. We're lucky that he had the courage to run into that fire when he did. And he might have died in your lap, but how many people did he save? He very easily could have saved your life, and you're around because of him. So let's honor and treasure that side of things. That's just, I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say what I find is amazing, I think, is like JMA, and just throwing that out there in the chat is
absolutely.
I mean, when we talk about, the bravery and the superheroes and that was a bold move, and that took a lot for him to do that. I mean, there's no doubt that it did. So, I want to say thank you for sharing that and hopefully allowing other people to share your pain. I mean, you don't have to carry these burdens by yourself. Tell your stories if you're able to get those. And I'm not just talking about let's jump back into everybody for a second here. And if you're struggling with something, that's why it's important to talk. We could all help. We could, if this person, alleviates a little bit of the pain, and this person alleviates a little bit of the pain, and you've got that network of friends and confidants around you, then eventually it doesn't hurt so bad, because we're all in this together and we're all absorbing a little bit of that for you.
Yeah. DMA's going on a run. He said he's got to get some things off his head and heart. And yeah, bro, call me anytime. So yeah, that was that's exactly what this is about right here, is the guilt that some people carry. Even though you grab for that next 3 feet and you make it to that next hour, you make it to that next day, it doesn't mean that shit's going away. And I'm not asking anyone out there to put that shit in a box and lock it up and throw it away. I'm not saying that. Wow. I'm saying there's ways to deal with it and there's ways to live with it. I would never ask anyone out there to forego their memories and always cherish those thoughts and those memories, good or bad, because those things make you who you are. When we talked about, you change as a person throughout life, you evolve throughout life, and those experiences in life that you go through make you who you are. And I would never ask anyone to throw those away and forget about them. No, what we're saying is understand there's ways to live with those experiences that may not have to be a negative way. So yeah, man, that was pretty awesome. I'm trying to catch up on some of the chat. Robert with full 30. What's up, Robert? I haven't seen Robert in a while. What's up, homie? 223 says his pa was in the Battle of the Bulge. Man, my grandfather was in Patton's. He was a tank commander in Germany. I think he was a captain. And he died when I was 13. And people that have been around me for a while have heard me tell the stories about my grandfather and how it affected his life when he came home, how it affected the kids. And he drank. He drank a lot. And he probably never, ever lived up. He was a college-educated man before he went to war and came home and probably never lived up to his expectations in life. And, but, you know, he was 13 when I died, and I don't remember. I mean, we never talked about it. I didn't understand. And I've said this many, many times. I wish that he was still alive after I joined the Marine Corps. I think there would have been a chance, you know, we could have swapped stories or something.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's one of those where I know that Midnight Range, his grandfather was at Guadalcanal, and holy shit, that's amazing. When I was at SHOT this year, went to the Marine party, and Clover knows that I was a giddy. I was like a little kid when I came home. Actually met another party or something, but when I left there, I was at the Leatherneck Club, which is a bar that's owned by Marines there in Vegas, and they have a couple parties every week, a SHOT show. And I was sitting there talking to this guy, and he says, "You ever met one of the chosen few?" And for those that don't know, the chosen reservoir in Korea, it was 38 below zero. That was, they called it the frozen chosen. It was a frozen, and we had, let's say, 500 Marines against 5,000 Koreans, and we won that battle. It's a big battle for the Marine Corps history. And one of those guys that was there was at that bar, and he was an old crusty dude. And I came home. I remember coming home to the townhouse, and was showing Clover like, dude, you're never gonna believe who I met. Like, this old crusty dude from the chosen reservoir in Korea. And we exchanged phone numbers, and we've texted back and forth a couple times since January. And it's just like, you meet people that, and you hear the Battle of the Bulge, you hear about D-Day, you hear about these battles throughout American history that shape who we are as a military and as a country. And to actually meet someone who was at those battles is unbelievable. I mean, I've never met anyone. I would have, if I did, I didn't realize they didn't say anything. I would have loved to have had a conversation, a frank conversation from someone that landed on Omaha. I just to understand, because I see, in Saving Private Ryan, that first 10 minutes of that is unbelievable. It's unbelievable cinematography. But there were people that, I didn't meet them, but there were people that were there during D-Day that said that was as close to it being real on camera as it was as if you were there. But can you imagine talking to the people that survived D-Day's invasion? I would have loved to have been able to do that one day. I would have loved to have done that. That would have been like the highlight of my life. That would have been phenomenal. But Warsaw says, Clover, you've seen the movie Unbroken?
Not that I'm aware of.
I know what Unbroken is. It sounds familiar, but I can't remember what it's. I've heard the name, but I don't remember what it's about. Unbroken. I'll have to Google that sometime. Let's see here. Robert says my grandfather received a Purple Heart at the Battle of the Bulge. Now I have that. That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. Patriots out there, hoorah, Double Dog. Our Lord and Savior is the ultimate judge. He's the Alpha and the Omega. Beginning and the end. Don't worry about mortal man. Says live for the Lord Jesus. Amen. Midnight Rain says missingmarines.com is an amazing site that lists Marines whose bodies were not able to be brought home, tells what happened to them as best as known. Yeah, that is something that, and I'm assuming Jeff Air Force. I mean, I think just it's a military wide thing. It should be a humankind thing, but no man left behind. But we that was just ingrained to us. You're gonna go back, and if you get shot going back to bring a body with you, then that's what we do. And that was just how we were taught: is you don't leave them. Obviously, there are situations that you literally just can't do it. Whether there's just no way. And sites like that, because I can't imagine getting the knock on the door and seeing two gentlemen in dress blues explaining to you that your husband or your kid is no longer going to come home, and then tell you we don't have a body for you. Don't know that I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that. So, Mandatory Carry $2 super chat. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you very much. I want to send all the stuff tonight. I'm going to send over to 22 Kill. So thank you for that. But yeah, and like I said, I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm babbling, guys. I apologize. It's been on 2 hours.
Ironically enough, there's been $22 in super chats. So isn't that?
Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to kind of cut it off. I've been just babbling, and I don't know why. I apologize to everyone else. We still got 20 people to listen to me babble. I apologize. I kind of got into a zone there, and sorry about that. For everyone listening, or especially a replay, they're going, "What the hell is this guy? This guy's lost it."
It went down a rabbit hole, but I think it was amazing. So
yeah, it was good. All right. So once again, thanks everyone for watching. I want to kind of go through the room. Jeff, what's going on with Gear Report with you? You got anything that you want to bring up to everybody tonight? Or are we doing a show Friday still, or what's going on with you?
Yeah, Friday, 8:00. So at Gear Report, let's see, today's Tuesday. So that means tomorrow is Show Us Your Humvee. That'll be episode 18, I think. We got some really cool stuff that's going to be in that episode. Thursday night at 7, live on the Gear Report YouTube channel. Pickle and Mike are doing the weekly camping chat. What do they call it? Hanging with Pickle.
Hanging with Pickle, low hanging fruit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then Friday we've got This Week at Gear Report, where various folks from the Gear Report crew will be there talking about what we've done for the week and what's coming up. So if you want to burn a few brain cells, come do it with us.
Enjoy the conversations at Gear Report that we have either off air, on air. Yeah. So check this out. Check out Pickle tomorrow night, and then Friday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, which is the real time zone, by the way. 7 Central. Just saying. Thanks, buddy. He said, Clove, what about you? What you got going on, bud?
I'm going to leave it with, try to be a little nicer, a little more friendly to people in your everyday life, and volunteer more. And see what happens. I would wager that you're going to live a happier life. You're going to see more return on said happiness. It really is. I mean, we talk about heavy things like we have on this show. And there's nothing wrong with that. but realize that there's a difference between talking about the hard things and the heavy things, and creating drama and spin and entertainment and bluster. And there's a big difference, and there was absolutely none of that. This reminded me a lot of the one you did, Ghost, with the veterans, wherever, that particular show. This reminded me a lot of that feel, really a somber.
And I didn't want it to be that way.
No, I love it. It should make people
Holy crap.
be a little more thankful for what they have, and also spread that thanks. So, Patriot kicks it in old school like a pimp.
With the $50 super chat. That's
wow.
I don't even know what to say.
Bro. We love you.
Love you. Yeah, absolutely. Semper Fi, brother. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. That's going to 22 kill. So appreciate you very much. I don't know if this is true or not. I like the sentiment. Buck says the best chat ever. I mean, it's weird. Okay, I guess I'm going to ramble on for a few seconds. It's weird for me because something like this to me is, I'm apologizing because I'm thinking no one wants to listen to people ramble on about shit. But like you said, I never thought about the way you and Jeff were saying it, but especially the way you just said it is sometimes it's okay to go down those rabbit holes, and sometimes it's okay to kind of have those darker conversations, because that's what we're asking everyone else to do right now. And so it's interesting concept.
Well, I mean, it wasn't done. It's not like it's in the title. This wasn't all set up. There was obviously emotion attached to it. This was a legit magic moment that happened. You know what I mean? Nobody is placating the drama or anything here. It's actually if you want real TV, this was real TV tonight.
Yeah, it was real. I want to say something that you were saying also was about volunteering. So there's a guy here who's a little bit older than me, and excuse me, and he was a Navy fighter pilot, and he was a Top Gun. Midnight Range, appreciate you, brother. Yeah, that's awesome. Send them in. They're going to 22 kill. So appreciate you. But yeah, he was a Top Gun. I mean, he was like a legit Navy fighter pilot. That he was that guy, And I know him well after he's been retired, and I know that he was this Top Gun pilot. I get that, but I know him in a different life now. And every Wednesday, and sometimes it's Tuesday, it's depending on the week, but either Tuesday or Wednesday of every week. So the VA hospital's down in Little Rock, and it's on the Air Force Base in Little Rock. And man, what the hell? Thanks, Clove. Gets a little bit more. Hell yeah. But there are a lot of veterans that get to the VA and they live from all over the state. And there are people that they have checkpoints. And I don't know if this is every way in every state. They have checkpoints that it's kind of like a bus stop that these little towns will meet at the Walmart parking lot or whatever. And they'll bring a van up, and whoever's got an appointment at the VA hospital will load up on the bus and they'll drive them down for free. And it's part of the VA. And Jeff volunteers every week to at least one day a week. Sometimes, like I said, it's either Tuesday or Wednesday, or sometimes both days. And he said he drives the bus. He drives the veterans down to the VA hospital. Holy God bless America. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Pancake fingers, he says. But yeah, and I think that's something to obviously be commended is anyone that volunteers, and it doesn't have to be for the veterans or anything. Volunteer to soup kitchen, volunteer, anywhere and everywhere that you can. That it's. Here's the thing that makes volunteerism hard. Good Lord. Buck, quit, Buck. Just quit.
We love you too, Buck. We love you too.
Love you too. But I think that what people don't realize when they volunteer is I think they understand that they're helping people, and people are very unselfish to volunteer. They're doing it to help people, but I don't think they truly understand sometimes how much they affect people's lives. And that's the cool thing about volunteerism is there's an old Friends episode that Phoebe and Joey and Ross, they were trying to sit there and say, there's no such thing as a good deed. There's no such thing, because no matter if you do something good, you're going to feel good about it, or something good's going to happen. So everything's selfish. You're doing everything for a selfish reason to feel good about it. And it was a great episode, but it's one of those things where, sometimes the volunteer don't realize how much they truly mean to these people. There are people that are alone, that live in an apartment by themselves, and they have no other family alive. They're a veteran that needs medication. They need different things, and they're in a wheelchair. That happens. That's a real scenario. How is that person going to get down to the VA hospital? There's a guy that drives a bus and picks them up. You're saving this guy's life by his medications and all that. So, like I said, we're going to quit going down rabbit holes, but I love what you were saying about volunteerism. So, thank you so much to everybody out there. All the super chats are going to go to 22 Kill, and I appreciate you guys. Clover, Jeff, as always, I love you guys. Thank you for being a part of this one. This one's going to go down in the books. This was a great one. For those that left early,
whoops.
And maybe they probably, okay. Thanks, Duncan. I think that probably the ones that left early probably are going to be pretty glad that they left early. If they didn't want to talk about mental health awareness, then they wouldn't want to hear the last 30 minutes, of real shit. So. Sorry about not getting to zeroing your guns. Apologize. We'll probably get to that next week.
Right.
So if you came here like Robert did, he came here to get his gun zeroed. My bad. We'll go back to that one.
No refunds.
No refunds. That's right. Yeah, as Josan said, that just got you in the door. That was my clickbait. We got you in for a harder discussion, but no.
On that path, we talked long range and scopes and things for a little bit.
We did. Yeah, absolutely mandatory. Hold my guns. Walk the talk, America. 22 Kill. And someone mentioned up there earlier is I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember. It's on to just left me. But the Warriors with Dogs. Good God, Sarge.
They talked about Camp Hope too.
Oh, Camp Hope. I didn't see that one. Did someone bring it up? I didn't see that one. I thought Camp Hope for real. Sarge, thank you, bro. Yeah, Camp Hope's real deal. There are so many good organizations out there. Yeah, but go check out some of them and help out. And more importantly, do us all a favors. If you know someone that's struggling, reach out to them today. And don't make it an impersonal Facebook message or text. Call them.
Yep.
Damn. John Z. Vet Dogs. That's what it was. Vet Dogs. Awesome. That's an awesome one. Thank you, John. It's 22 Kill for sure. Thank you so much. But yeah, we're going to get out of here. Go enjoy the rest of your night. Be with your family. Stay safe out there. Just because some of the states are kind of reopening the doors a little bit, letting you do that. I'm not saying stay home by any means. I'm one of those that think that this is a little bit of a hoax, but I'm not going to go down that conspiracy theory. I will say is stay safe, stay vigilant, be careful, but enjoy your lives. And especially if you have older kids, enjoy these times. My daughter's 23, getting ready to be 23 later on this month. And those high school years, they go by so fast. And if you're at home, they're at home right now, and you get to spend basically every day with them because you're home and all that. Enjoy that time, because this is probably going to be a blessing for some people. This one might be this time with your family you'll never get back. So stay safe out there. Have fun. Try to do something productive. Try to stay active. Walk, run, do something. Get outside. And I'll say this. I'm not saying don't wear your mask. I'm saying that your body will never build up antibodies without bacteria. You're going to have to take that mask off eventually. Walk outside. It's okay. Your body is naturally going to produce antibodies, but it has to get sick first. And I'm not saying go intentionally get corona. It doesn't have to be corona. Just get out there. Let your bodies get to work. The more you stay inside, your bodies aren't used to that. They need to be out there like Clover. They need to be in sunlight, but they need to build their immune systems up naturally. So get out there and I agree, man. It's where the virus is real. I'm not saying the virus is a hoax. I'm saying that a lot of this stuff is that's just me. Discussion for another time. Anyway, thanks, guys, out there. If you're listening in replay or podcast and you've made it this far, holy shit, please let me know in the comments below. I want to send you something special. If you lasted 2.5 hours with this discussion, God bless you. Thanks to everyone that is donating the super chats. That will be going to 22kill.com. I'll donate that. And I appreciate you guys. And thank you for everyone for what you guys do. We love you guys. Go check out, go over. We totally made you miss Night Strike, but go check out. I don't know. Is Sandy doing a show tonight? Or is this the night that his anniversary? I think this is his anniversary. So he's not.
I think so. I haven't got a notification, so I think so.
Okay. But I agree. Semper Fi, Patriot. Jeff, I agree, is an open, honest chat, and that's kind of what made this one a little bit different. Is it wasn't just us; it was people out there, JMA, and different people that opened up. And yeah, this was going to go down. I'll never forget this chat, good or bad. I'll never forget this chat. So thank you for Jeff and Clover for being a part of it. Thank you for the 18 people that made it 2.5 hours with us. God bless you. I don't know if I would have been able to do it, but we will. We'll see you next week, guys. Semper Fi.